Lowdown, presented to you by Harley-Davidson. Now this week we're going to be catching up with Sylvain Filippi, who is team principal and MD of Envision Virgin Racing. Let's get him on the line and have a catch up. Sylvain, it's great to have you on the call here. How's it all going for you? I know obviously we're all cooped up inside. How are you feeling?
Great to see you, Becky, and yeah, great to chat to you. Well, you know, we all know it's a bit strange, right? Strange times, stuck home, busy, very busy at work. We are, you know, trying to use that time when we are not racing to do other things on the marketing side, on the digital side. So yeah, busy.
You know, I was doing a bit of background looking into you actually, and you know, before you even got into being a team principal for Envision Virgin Racing, you're actually a bit of a pioneer yourself. You created the first electric racing series. Like, what was the driving force behind it? Forget the pun. I'd love to hear it.
Sure, it's a long story, so I'll give you maybe the short version for now. Yeah, I guess I'm one of these few people that's been at the crossroads of electric tech and motorsport for a long time, I guess. So yeah, 12 years ago, I was doing some consulting. I was working there as a day job, and I came across all these car manufacturers working on electric tech in 07, 08, and to me it became very clear that there was a huge gap between what the potential of that technology was and the perception of the public. At the time, you have to remember 10 years ago, no one really was talking much about electric cars. So there was a huge gap. And so I thought a bit naively, but you know, the idea was good, that you know, we need motorsport to bridge that gap and show people what EV tech can do. And at the same time, one big trigger for me was to drive one of the very first Tesla Roadsters at the time. And that car just blew my mind in terms of what it was able to do. So all this combined gave me this idea to create something called the EV Cup, Electric Vehicle Cup.
Yeah.
And yeah, we worked on that for a while. It was really good fun, and it was really the beginning, probably a bit too early in hindsight, given the pace of the industry at the time. But the idea was there, and then formally, the idea of formally came around, and it was very obvious to me that you know I should be involved in that. And yeah, one thing led to another, and here I was joining what was Virgin Racing at the time in season 1.
Did you enjoy making the jump from obviously being on the side of creating the race series to then being a participant? Like, do you enjoy that?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and I very much so. Actually, reflecting back, I mean, I would probably each and every single job in the Formula E ecosystem is a fun job, and there's a lot of good things to do. But on balance, I very much enjoy, and I was really looking forward of being on the team side. Simply because you get the excitement of competition, right? Like it's very satisfying. It's hard work for sure, but it's also very satisfying and very rewarding. Simply being winning races, right? There's no greater outcome and no greater fun than winning a race, and it makes all the hard work worthwhile. So yeah, definitely it was a right move.
Well, Sylvain, competition is the spice in the stir fry of racing. We all know this. And speaking of racing, sim racing, it is everywhere right now. The gaming world is just exploding. I mean, I'm finding myself sat on a sim as well. It was huge, but I've seen that you guys have got your state-of-the-art facility up in Silverstone. Have you ever found yourself sort of slipping in the hot seat when the boys aren't there?
Yeah, I have to say I have actually. Not recently, but when we installed our main driver in the loop simulator, I definitely had to have a go. The engineers were basically pushing me to have a go. Probably they thought it would be funny. It's actually really hard. It's very difficult, which shows how accurate these models are. Right? So yeah, I'm the same. I've been of course following sim racing recently. I definitely cannot pretend to be a pioneer in that world. Definitely not. But yeah, I've been following all the esports championships in the last few weeks, and then with Formula E, we are starting our own, and it's super exciting. I mean, what's really amazing is the level of tech these days, right? The car model, the track models, and simply what a good Wi-Fi and what a good bandwidth allows these days. It means that the racing is very smooth. That's the main thing I was the most surprised of. You know, like you watch it on the big screen and it looks like real racing because the drivers are taking the correct lines and it's super smooth. There's no lag. So yeah, I think there's a great potential for esports, right? Like the benefits are obvious for sure. I don't think it will ever replace real racing in terms of, you know, the core purpose of Formula E, which is to develop the tech first, the tech of electric cars. You cannot really do that on esports. And then the passion and the emotion that you get by being at races and so on. But having said that, the two can perfectly coexist in my view. So they will bring their own benefit. So it's really exciting to see how quickly it's going to grow. And for me, of course, I'm thinking as a team, what should be our space in that ecosystem. I think it's pretty obvious that we should at least be in it and learn about it.
So sim racing is, there's a lot of championships that are coming up and lots of young drivers are coming through these sim championships. Do you think ever in the future for EVR, maybe one day you would pluck your talent from a sim racing championship?
Well, why not, right? I mean, it seems, a few years ago it would have seemed a bit crazy, but these days, why not? Like you can see, I think the beauty of motorsport, I think the relevance of esports in motorsports compared to any other sport is that the kind of link and the relevance between the skills of a sim racer and the skills of a real racer are really not that dissimilar. The understanding the behavior and the vehicle dynamics of a race car and what makes a race car go faster, it's the same really. What's the only thing missing is what you described, right? If there's no physical wall there, you don't get the fear and you don't get it's all about that last percent. Chasing that last percent of lap time is an awful lot easier on the sim than the bravery required on the racetrack. But to answer your question, I don't see why not. In the future, as esports keeps growing, hopefully there will be a pool of talent there. And very clearly, I'm sure some talents will be emerging, and I think there'll be a strong temptation for teams like mine and others to test these talents. Why not put them in a real car and see what they can do? I mean, it would seem the logical thing to do, I think.
I think you'll have made my nephew's day there. He is doing military-style testing on the sim at the minute. But speaking of racing, I noticed the other day that you've got into a different style of racing, namely marbles.
Hello and welcome to Marbula E, presented by Envision Virgin Racing, around the marbled streets of Paris.
Yeah, my team, I was worried the first time I heard about it. I thought literally, that's it, my team's gone mad. It was probably 10 days in lockdown, and I was like, that's it. I tried to keep mental health at a high level, but I've already failed. So no, it was a very fun idea. I did ask my marketing team to come up with new original ideas that would provide entertainment to the fans who are clearly craving any forms of racing and entertainment, right? So they came up with this idea, which I thought was brilliant. And the success is huge. I think we have more than 1 million views after a few days, and it keeps growing. So it shows that this kind of happy content, is required, because it doesn't. It's obviously very lighthearted, but a bit of fun at the moment is what everyone needs, right? I was a little bit upset that we were last in qualifying and dead last in the race, having organized it. I thought that was a bit harsh, but anyway, we'll see. I think there's two more races to come, so I hope we do better.
Well, this year been unfortunately a few delays, and there was one thing I wanted to ask you about. I know that this was going to be the year of the Gen 2 Evo end, which is a huge, step up for Formula E. Where is the team at with that now? Is it still being delayed? Like, can you tell me about it?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of discussions at the moment between the teams, Formula E, the promoter, and the FIA, to try to be sensible, really, and find the right balance between keeping the show going, which is of course important. We don't want to damage the product long term. It's really important to keep all the excitement and momentum and all the good pillars and good values around Formula E. But also in the meantime, we also have to be sensitive to the fact that we live in a very disrupted world with a lot of pain across the globe, and we have to be sensitive to that. So we are making decisions. Sure. I think Formula have done really well with the FIA to make the good, at least I think, were the good decisions, and they took these decisions quite early, which was probably the right thing to do. So credit to them on that. And then the next few weeks and months, it's about revising the roadmap simply. So trying to come up with a revised calendar. I certainly hope that we go back racing at some point in the summer, late summer. It would be nice to go back racing to re-give some momentum to season 6 before engaging into season 7 later on in the year. So that's the plan. And Gen 2 Evo is a good example. Yeah, we were planning to introduce an upgrade kit to all the cars for next year. And we are now not going to do that. We're going to delay it by 1 year, which is the right thing to do. It's not. It's a bit disappointing in terms of the giving a new look to the cars, for the fans and so on. But at the end of the day, if it's you have to take into account the financial impact for the teams and the manufacturers and so on. So it's all about finding that balance, between not stopping everything, but also being sensitive to what's happening around us, I guess. Yeah.
But I do find it quite interesting the way it's really turned the heat up on conversations around climate change. This rush to start the world changing again, because with all the slowdown, we're seeing like real big effects on how nature is changing to this. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and I think if you put aside for now the short term again pain and drama that's going on, which is very, very terrible for many people, but if you take a step back and look forward, there's actually so much to think about and such a huge opportunity here, because we've been saying, if you work in this industry of renewable energy or electric cars or so on, you tend to know the positive impact that these cars can make and so on. So personally, I've been saying for years that the benefit of electric cars is not just that they're more efficient and so on, but also that you remove the pollution where people live. That's the main thing, right? Even, which is not the case, but even if the pollution of an electric car was the same as a petrol car from well to wheel, which is, by the way, not the case. An electric car is definitely using less energy, but even if it was the case, at least you're not emitting the pollution in the heart of cities where people live. But all this, you can say it 100 times, it doesn't really hit home for many people until you actually experience it. And now, I'm very near London, and you can see around all the big cities, and the difference is incredible. After a few weeks, you see a decrease in 80 or 90% of the pollution levels. So that's what's really exciting, is that it doesn't take years to make a difference. We are talking just a few weeks, and already there's a huge impact. So what is really exciting and good news here is that it doesn't mean that we have to stop human activity to fix the planet. No, we don't. As far as pollution in cities is concerned, all we have to do, in a way, is to switch to electric cars as quickly as we can, because the reality would be the same. It's obviously not possible, but imagine if overnight all the cars in city centers were electric, then we could go about our normal lives, and the pollution levels would be the same as now. How wonderful would that be? So there's that. And then there's even the bigger picture around, which I'm also very passionate about, which is about the creation of energy itself. So running around in electric cars makes even more sense if the electricity is powered by renewable energy. And every country is still doing better. Every year the mix of renewable energy is increasing. But I'm hoping that this crisis will kind of help change perceptions and hopefully accelerate that shift. And if we achieve all of these things, then at least we will have been clever about it and derived some good outcome out of it. So
no, for sure. So for the last part of this, I wanted to do a quick fire did you know, because whilst I've been off not working, I have been collecting some information about electric cars and all things electric racing. So it's a quick fire round. Are you ready?
I am ready.
So did you know that the electric car isn't actually technically new technology? It was created in 1884 by somebody called Thomas Parker.
Yeah, I did know that. Sounds very smug, but I did know that. Did you add to that fact? I think I might say something wrong again, right? But don't shoot me on this. I think in the first decade of the 20th century, 19 to 1910, the majority of cars in some parts, I think New York comes to mind, were electric. And actually all the premium cars at the time were electric cars because they were much easier to start and to drive around. Yeah, so all the kind of wealthy families and households and so on in New York were driving electric cars. When the petrol cars were much more difficult to run because you had to start them from the crank. It was quite a difficult thing and dangerous thing to do. And then the shift, what really kind of killed the electric car, killed the momentum of electric car, was the discovery of oil in Texas, where suddenly they realized, oh wow, there's this huge, abundant, extremely cheap source of energy here. And the combination of that and then the mass manufacturing of the Ford Model T were some of the contributing factors to the fact that electric cars went on the wayside a bit. Anyway, these facts might not be absolutely correct.
I was going to say, this has turned into a did you know Sylvain into a did you know Becky? So I like that.
Sorry to hijack
no,
again.
I'm learning all the time. My next one is, did you know that there are now more charging stations than petrol stations in the UK, which is good news?
I did not know that. I knew it was increasing, but I did not know that. That's very good news, isn't it?
It is very good news. And I feel like you probably did know that, and now you're just like, okay.
No, I genuinely didn't. I knew that the fast chargings, that the ones that some of them I'm using there's definitely more of them, and they are getting very good, very reliable. But I did not know that. No, that's very good.
Charging stations than petrol stations. Did you know also that potentially, due to new government regulations, if you drive an electric vehicle, you may be able to have a green license plate. So you won't have a yellow license plate anymore on the back of your car. It'll be green.
I don't know either. They have something similar in the States, in LA, don't they? It's not on the license plate, but they have a sticker that allows them to take the fast lanes and so on, right? So
yeah, no, we could end up having, it's still in government discussions right now, but there could be the emergence of the green license plate. So everybody knows.
I do know that. With some benefits associated to it. Yeah, very cool.
And then the last one, actually, I'm going to ask you this question. How many models of electric car do you think there are available worldwide today?
Oh, quite a lot now. You're putting me on the spot. I don't know, at least 40, 50 plus, I would have thought, at least.
Very close. 43 currently available.
Oh, wow, look at me. I definitely did not know this question in advance, by the way. I just literally thought on my feet here. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. And what I like saying is that if you compare the level of technology and the level of performance, if you want, of these cars compared to 5 years ago, the gap and the progress is huge. Some of these electric cars you're talking now, even the affordable ones, or the ones that are really getting affordable, pretty much all have 200 mile plus range, and they're all becoming really, really usable. So it's really exciting to see, fast forward another 5 years. What all these cars will be like, so that's what I like, and that's what Formula is all about. Accelerating that innovation is what we are all really passionate about, because ultimately I want people to want to buy an electric car, not because of an incentive or because of a benefit here and there. It should just be ideally also a kind of a passion purchase, like buying a petrol car is. There's no reason why not. If you can make a super fast electric car, super fun to drive, and if it's the right thing to do for the environment, then it's a bit of a no-brainer. So I hope we get there really soon. But yeah, we'll see. Ask me again every year to see how we track on that.
We'll come back to that next year, yeah. And on that positive note, Sylvain, thank you so much for your time. I hope you stay safe, everything is going good for you at home, and we will catch up with you super soon.
Perfect. Speak to you very soon.